What's going on, everybody? It's a Tuesday. I'm here with my man, Eric Sheets-Haber. Obviously, it's a pretty, look, we're trying to make the most of it. It's a pretty grim outlook overall countrywide. And personally, for some people out there, I just want to say we want to keep trying to do these shows and try and keep some entertainment. Hopefully, when things go back to normal, you guys can come back and watch these and laugh at us. But we're going to talk about some of our topical things that we think are interesting. We're also going to have somebody come on and we're going to do some EA shows. Talk about League of Legends, things that I don't know much about, but I can certainly ask some of my friends who are experts at this stuff, and we'll get somebody on in the next couple days and start trying to incorporate that every day as much as we can, or at least as often as we can.
Wait. First of all, how did I didn't see how he went out. I saw that Baby Grand doubled a couple of times.
Yeah, he actually got a little bit of a stack. He did something. So our friend who was playing poker yesterday that we had the video on, and the day 2 of the 600. Now he did something that's never right. Absolutely never right. I don't even understand what was going through his mind. He had 2 big blinds, and he was in the big blinds, 2.2 big blinds. And it got opened from the button, which basically is all in, obviously. And he folded. I've never seen anybody.
Because he's a freaking hopeless nit. I've told you this about him.
He's not. Okay, so he's a stack. He's a weird one, though. He's like an aggressive nit. Yeah, I mean, that's like beyond nitish. I mean, that can never be right. It can never work. So he was dead anyway, though. He lost, I think it was a pretty big, it wasn't quite a flip. I think it was like ace-10 to jacks or something on button on blind or something like that. But a good game to him. A lot of other friends who made it deep. Actually, no guy who made the final table, which was nice. I made another final table yesterday of the $88, but not the big one. This poker's been fun. It's been a great distraction. But Sheets, what's going on in your world, man?
Yeah, so yesterday was a little off day for me. I still off day. I still manage my fund and do all the stuff that's important. But then I didn't play any poker or anything yesterday. It was my anniversary with my wife, so we had dinner at home, and obviously, and we actually did online shopping for her present. So we got her something, and then watched a little Tiger King, a little Ozark. Just wasn't really gambling too much last night. So here's what I want to talk about for a second. So
okay,
there's obviously gamblers are just starved for action, right? And there's, from the ridiculous to the sublime. I mean, there was one prop bet that thankfully didn't happen, like about 3 weeks ago, where 2 guys, they're pretty well known on Twitter. One of them said, if you pay me $250,000, I will intentionally contract coronavirus. And it was actually being negotiated, and and my comment was, can I please offer you money just to not do this? I mean, honestly, like, just please don't, right? And it turns out that didn't happen. That to the prediction markets of how many deaths there are going to be in coronavirus, stuff like that. So that to the to the funner ones, which is like gambling on simulations and gambling on Rocket Man or whatever the hell that thing is, or League of Legends and other kinds of stuff. But the prop bet industry, like physical prop bets, has kind of taken center stage. So there were 2. I don't know if the first one is happening, but one of them was actually Josh Aryeh coming out. He did one, and then there was a second one, which I don't know if he's actually going through with it today. But the first thing he did was he did a jigsaw puzzle prop. He bought a 2,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and he kind of put it out there. Anybody want to, set a line on this? Like, how long it's going to take me, to do this? I do have a partner. Some I don't know whether it was his sister or his wife or whatever it is, or daughter. And I have, and so people were betting on that. And I think it was an over-under of like 12 hours or something like that to finish it. And he finished that one really easily. And then he had like a golf bet that he was putting out there. He was going to go out on the course with certain restrictions because of coronavirus. They have like different golf course restrictions. He was going to play a 2-person scramble where he was an over-under of 68. And he put that line out there at 68. So obviously people are like, well, I don't think it's fair because this people thought that he was the biggest favorite and stuff like that. And my first comment was, well, sure. I mean, the guy's going to put out his own prop bet. He's certainly going to be a favorite. I mean, that's just kind of something you have to accept. So that may or may not be happening today along with live stream. But the one that's kind of taking over my Twitter feed right now is this push-up prop that I don't know this guy, but because as we discussed kind of off air, I don't really know that many people relative to DFS that other people know. But this guy, John Bales, he is doing a prop bet, which I guess Draft Sheet kind of goaded him into, or whatever it was. See, this is how it works. So Draft Sheet put out a tweet that said, how many push-ups anybody out there think they can do in 12 hours? So people started putting in their comments or whatever, their predictions. I put out, for me, maybe like 750, right? And other people putting out theirs, and Bales got involved in this. And
wait,
so
how many hours was it? This is a different push-up prop thing that I was part of. What is this one?
Well, we're getting there, okay?
Okay, sorry.
So it's how many push-ups you do in 12 hours. Oh, so Bales finally and Draft Cheat reached a number where Bales is going to do 2,400 push-ups in 12 hours, okay? And this actually has a line on Poker Shares. It has a line on one of the other online gambling sites. And I think a conservative prediction is it's probably going to be $1 million bet on this on both sides. Now, I don't know this guy. They actually posted, pictures of him with doing like simulated, a couple of test push-ups, because there's going to be, people that are, there's going to be this whole like group of like verifiers, I think, that are going to be like kind of watching to make sure that chest touches the whatever. And it's a close enough line where I think that they're getting action on both sides of this in a pretty decent thing. So while I really don't have too much of an opinion on whether he's a favorite or not, my comment on things like this, and maybe you could tell me what you think, is, I tweeted this too, I always feel as though the person in these physical challenges, the person who is doing the physical challenge, if they're involved in any way in setting up the conditions or the line, that they are just by nature an enormous favorite. You know what I mean? Just otherwise, they just wouldn't do it, and they know their bodies better than the people that are betting on them. And that's, so to me, I mean, for me, I'm like, okay, I don't know this Bales guy. He looks like he's an in-shape guy. He looks like he's a smart guy. And from what I've heard about from the industry, people have been posting their opinions. They're saying, dude, you just don't want to be on the wrong side of a bet with this guy. That's just what I've heard.
Bales?
Or whatever. So I'm just
curious,
him? Do you have any opinion on this?
Wait, say that one more time. So you're saying that they would say you don't want to be on the wrong side of a bet with Bales?
Yes.
So I don't know him well
Okay.
at all. I know that when we used to record, for some reason, when JM used to record, our Roto Academy videos with our RG, it would always say it was Bales, because Bales had the role, I guess, before of organizing. I don't know what he did exactly, to be honest with you. I probably should know better. But by the time I was around, mostly with RG, he was pretty much gone. I think that he is ripped. I know that. I think that this is a tough. I think that's a lot tougher to do than people think it is. Try and do this for those of you out there, if anybody's watching. See if you can just do 105 minutes. Now, some of us who are in good shape can do it. It's a tough one, though, for a lot of people. And then try and figure out how you're going to get to 2,400 without your chest absolutely breaking in 12 hours.
Here's the test. Here's the
I think he can do it, though. He looks like he has the body type to be able to actually do this. And he looks like he's comfortable knowing he's going to do it. Those are, not ideal push-ups, but
what they were doing is they were agreeing on the fact that these are all legit.
Okay, that's good to do.
Right.
Because that's a big difference. I'm sorry, I got a call from your friend Steve just now, by the way.
Oh, okay.
We're following up on that whole thing. Okay. I'm going to text him real quick while we're going. But what do you think? So have you ever tried to do any number like this? Like, I've done 1,000 push-ups in a day. I used to do 500 every day, but that was throughout the course of a day. It's 12 hours. I think he's going to be able to do this, though.
Yeah. See, again, I'm not too interested in whether I know I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? I don't know like how many I could do. I mean, I have other issues. I have wrist issues. Like, I don't know what I could do. But I just think from just kind of a psychological and a perspective, like the person who is doing it has to know, at least have an idea that he can get it done, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have bet it, I would think. Here's a great example, right? So this goes back like a long way. So it's like now it's in the 80s, right? I'm going to school in Boston. We're out drinking at a bar, and I'm with a couple of guys. One of them is just this enormous person, right? This guy's like huge, right? One of our friends, and we're all drinking and getting a little rowdy, whatever it is. And this kid comes over. We don't know. He's like some 5'2", 100-pound kid, and he's like, "Oh, anybody want to have a chugging contest, right?" And my buddy, the big dude, said, "I'll have a chugging contest with you. How much or whatever? Like how fast you can chug like a whole thing of beer." I'm like, "Dude, I don't even know this kid. I know that he's a 20-1 favorite. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
whoever he is, he's coming up to us and he's asking anybody wants to compete with a guy who's 5'1", 104 pounds, right? I mean, the guy's a lock, whatever it is." And so the kid bet, and the kid, my friend bet him like $5, whatever. The kid literally drank it like faster than you could pour it on the ground. You know what I mean? Like it was just like ridiculous, right? So like it's the whole concept is just don't bet someone else's prop bet. You know what I mean? That they create for themselves. Now the good thing is he didn't create this one for himself. He was responding to somebody else, like throwing it out there. How many of you guys think you could do? I just think that he's just going to be like, just has to be a big favorite just because he's doing it. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
The only thing is, look, if he was a guy who was in average shape, if he was draft cheat, or if he was one of these other guys who thinks that, like Adam Scherer or one of these other jokes, that'd be one thing. But when you're in really, really, really top-notch shape, because like I don't know if most people have done 500,000 push-ups. Like your body feels it, even if you're a big, strong guy. I used to have like 4% body fat. I was in phenomenal shape for a few years, and I could do a ton of push-ups. I would do sets of start off with 75 each. I was a monster push-up guy, and it gets really tough at some point. But 12 hours is enough time for a guy who's really fit enough and believes in himself. Like, especially if, like you said, if you don't want to take the other side of bets against the guy, this is a time where I definitely would be betting heavy on him.
Yeah. So that is, again, I try to keep my brain working. You know what I mean? Like with the absence of actual, like I'm not betting on this, you know what I mean? But like in the absence of other stuff to bet on, I always keep my brain working and figure out new projects to assess risk and stuff like that. And this is one of the things that I talked about. Like here's one you might know. So you never lived in Vegas, right? But maybe you're a basketball player. You've heard of this. Now the name now escapes me. I'd have to look at my emails. So there's real famous hustler, right, in the Vegas area. He's a poker player. He was kind of an okay poker player, but he was a former college basketball player. Now, I don't remember his name now, but I'll find it, okay, because it was an amazing story. The kid was known for, like, this incredible basketball hustle, right? He was like tremendous. He was like one of the best shooters, three-point shooters in his conference's history, which is a very small conference. And it was amazing. He's saying he was going to take 3-point shots, and he would go even money that he could make 90 out of 100. Okay, and he just basically printed money like for like a year at this. And then that wasn't the most impossible one. He would also go even money, 85 out of 100 bank shot threes.
That's absurd.
It is, right? But verify whatever. So I have to find the kid's name. He was a golf hustler. He was probably like a piece of shit. You know, he was like a golf hustler, but basketball hustling was what he was known for, as far as I knew the kind of a golf hustler from Vegas who knew him from golf hustling. So he was telling me about his basketball exploits. So again, like when the person that's offering the bet is the person performing the action, it's very difficult to justify taking a position against him.
I know, but that's one I would have definitely taken the other side, because you could watch guys who are expert shooters, especially when you have the bank element into it. It's really we had a guy who was a UCLA guy a while ago, Jason Capono, and he was literally one of the best shooters I've ever seen, even though he never really made it big in the NBA, although he had a couple okay years. He would take his warm-ups during practice. This was in college. I used to go to all the UCLA games, and he would just sit there, and I swear I don't know if I remember seeing him miss more than a couple maybe ever. And he would just sit there from the side angles and just bank in threes, 75, and it felt like 75 in a row, basically. That's the only time I've ever seen anybody do. I mean, 85 out of 100, even if you're like a pro and you take those shots every day, which you wouldn't be taking bank shots, that's a really, really, that's a tough thing to do.
I mean, I would have done it just to watch it.
Yeah, why not? I mean, those are some cool prop ones, though. I like that 2,400. I might actually try and see if I can somehow get my old body back to doing that today.
Yeah, well, that'd be great.
If I could somehow, but I don't know if I'm going to be videotaping the whole thing, so I'm not gonna claim I did it or didn't do it. I'm just gonna try and figure out and feel my own pride.
Well, here's a joke I have. So, okay, I don't want to give a so I don't want to do a make a racist joke, but like, you know what, let's do it anyway. So this Irishman, okay, this Irishman from Ireland like flies into Texas for some reason for a business meeting, and he goes into this Texas bar, one of these really rowdy Texas bars, and he goes in there. And he says, hey, guys, what's going on? The Texas guy says, oh, what's your accent? Where are you from? And he says, I'm from Ireland. The bar's all rowdy. And they say, my God, I hear you Irish people can really, really drink, right? And the Irish guy says, oh, I could drink you Texas guys under the table. And the Irish guy says, I'll tell you what I'll do. He says, the Texas guy, the bartender says, I bet you can't drink 20 beers, like all in a row, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 20 right in a row. And guy said, I don't know, it sounds interesting. He says, how much you want to bet? He's like, I'll bet you $500 you can't do it, 20 in a row. And he says, I don't know, let me think about it. So the guy leaves, the Irish guy leaves. And he comes back about like an hour later or so, like a half hour later. He says, you know what, you're on. Let's do it, right? And everybody got around, and it was like a big social thing. And they put the beers down, and the Irish guy goes, boom, 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 boom. All 20 of them, and they're like half rooting for the guy. You know what I mean? Because it's such an incredible thing to see. And he does all 20 of them, and there's a big celebration. The guy happily gives him the 500, and the Irish guy, oh, I'm just having so much fun. And the bartender says, yeah, but I got a question for you. He's like, what happened? Why'd you disappear for a half an hour? He says, I just went to the bar next door just to make sure I could do it.
That's a great one.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that from a prop bet perspective. I wonder if Bale's just banged out 2,400 or whatever it is, just in preparation for responding to the tweet.
Yeah, I mean, 2,400 is a good number, by the way. 200 an hour. Because I mean, I've seen people do workouts who are actually pretty fit, where they'll be mainly doing chest thing, and they'll do 400 or 500 push-ups in an hour. So if you're doing 200 an hour and that's just your regular, like that's a lot. It's going to end up by the end of it, it's going to feel like a lot worse than I think that most people realize it's going to feel. But I do think he'll make it. Sheets, bring up that video, that thing of your videos again. Let's talk about some movies, some good maybe watches for people that haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, hold on. I just want to get a. I'll put a. Hold on a minute. I want to do a. One sec. I'll give them a little publicity. So this is the Poker Shares page with the push-up one. Yeah. But there's another one. There's also a wait, hold on. I'll put where is the basketball one? Hold on. That's the same one. Yeah, but there's also like an actual sports book that's getting action on this also. So it's yeah. Okay, so we'll do some movies, and I basically just wrote down movies, like different genres, different whatever, and I wasn't ranking them. I just basically came up with like, I want to say like 50 movies, like 40 movies or something that I just thought, I just really like every time I just kind of see them. And I was going through them, and some of them were kind of like chalk, you know what I mean? And some of them might be a little bit off the board. So I'll just, I don't want to do this. So how many do I have? So I have 1, 2, 3. What I think would be kind of neat, like maybe if you did like a list, and then we kind of see what kind of overlap there was. And then we can have like people bet on how much overlap. No, I'm just kidding. How much overlap there's in BobbyFi's and whatever. So I'm definitely not going to have any of your B-level horror movies on there. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not going to get in there.
These are favorite movies though?
What's that?
These are their favorite movies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I only have one horror movie that would be.
Well, I don't know. I consider 1, 2, I think I have at least 3. I mean, you consider them, I don't know, consider horror movies, whatever, but I think Poltergeist was awesome, like, for example.
I like Poltergeist, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where do we call it The Shining? It's technically in the horror genre, but it's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah, yeah. So
And
I'm
by
just
the way,
gonna just
pretty appropriate these days, probably for some people's families going on right now. Not the ones, not our families. At least we like our families. We like the people we're around. But some people are going crazy right now. I actually have a few friends that are literally begging me to come out and just say.
All right, so why don't we do this? Why don't we do this with? I'll direct your mind in a certain way. So what sports movies are on your top list?
So sports. That's a really okay. So you have the chalky ones like Hoosiers and which I love.
See, I don't consider. I don't have Hoosiers one of my top movies.
I've got to think about it for a second, but I would go. Yeah. I really like, actually, it's kind of corny in some of it, and a lot of it is, but I really like the movie Field of Dreams. It's something maybe that stuck for me from my childhood.
Yeah, and that was as I say, that was for me like last one tossed. Like I would put that one. That would be probably my next one that I would put in, because I happen to have enjoyed that a lot.
Well, I think that there's other good ones that are like underrated, like that are just, if you ask every NFL player for a while, I remember they were all saying that the only movie that was ever close to what their life was Any Given Sunday. And I like Any Given Sunday quite a bit. I wouldn't put it as my favorite. I like other weird movies like The Program. It's another one from the 90s that I really, really enjoyed. I liked Blue Chips, but it was more just, I loved the basketball. I thought that it was the best they ever showed, like basketball in a movie at the time. But just thinking of my favorites, I love Bull Durham. I mean, I'm going on Kevin Costner thing a little bit, but I love Tin Cup actually too. By the way, a very sneaky, underrated sports movie. I feel like.
Do you like Rudy?
I like Rudy very much, but I like the old Longest Yard.
So I will just here. So what I will do is I will share really briefly, and you'll see right there on my list is Longest Yard. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Longest. By the way, not to date myself, but I saw Longest Yard, the original, in the theater. How about that?
Goodness.
1974, 75, around there. Yeah. That's literally in the theater. And that was a great movie.
Yeah. I have a few other ones though that I thought, okay, so wait, let's
so here are some of my sports ones, right?
Okay, yeah, you throw some, but let me throw in one more just because there's a couple that I really love that I forgot. Yeah. I love 8 Men Out. I love White Men Can't Jump. And maybe my hottest take of all of my things is I hate Remember the Titans.
Okay. So it's funny because Remember the Titans, I'm not a big Remember the Titans guy, but the director and the creators and the writers of Remember the Titans are actually the same guys who did one of my favorite movies, which is Fresh. It's the same group of guys. But Remember the Titans is not my favorite. So sports ones, now I don't know, sometimes people don't consider this a sports movie, but I think obviously I loved Rocky. I don't know whether you consider that a sports movie.
100%. That was on my list.
And I did like Rocky 3 as well. The other sports movies, you did mention 8 Men Out, which definitely makes my list. One of my all-time favorite movies, considered sports, consider what it is Breaking Away.
Great call. Yes. I love Breaking Away.
Yeah. Breaking Away, I thought was exceptional. I also, and these are two other baseball movies that I don't want to say, no, it's underrated or whatever it is, but I actually really enjoy, this is for a different reason, but I actually really enjoyed League of Their Own. I always got a kick out of the whenever they have like a brother-sister or sister-sister rivalry thing going on, where they like kind of get distant and they get together again and stuff like that. Yeah. So that kind of side story I really enjoyed. And the other, and just because it's just the greatest movie of all time is Bad News Bears, the first one. So I figured obviously that doesn't go in the great movie category, but I'm not going to throw any sports movie list in there without throwing that in. I think that's all the sports ones I liked. I mean, that I put in my top.
Yeah, it's funny because there's a few there's a lot. I really like sports movies in general, and if you do them well, because I'll enjoy them even if you don't make it well.
So now let's talk about something where I know we're going to come out different, because this is just such a freaking generational thing.
We did miss potentially my favorite one. I just got to throw it in there. Actually, there's two arguable ones. I don't ever want to watch the movie Raging Bull again. I've seen it 3 times. It's an incredible piece of film. It's not enjoyable particularly to watch, but it's a really well-made movie. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. But the big one I would say, and my original favorite documentary ever, which has now been changed to OJ's 5-piece documentary because I think it's the most interesting. but was Hoop Dreams. Hoop Dreams is a phenomenal movie. So over 3 hours, but it follows these kids through their time in, in middle school all the way up through high school into where they're going for college, they're top recruits. And if you've seen Hoop Dreams, haven't you?
Another one that I saw in the theater. Exceptional. Excellent.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Move on.
So here's one where I know we're going to end up fighting just because of generations, I guess. Let's talk about comedies.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay. So
you want to go Snake?
So I'm gonna start with chalk. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and that's gonna be Caddyshack, Airplane, and Stripes. Okay. Like for me, that's totally the chalk. And you correct me if I'm wrong. Like there are people your age that like those movies, right?
Absolutely. And,
okay.
But you know what's interesting though is I remember seeing Caddyshack as a kid and not really getting it, and then I really got into it as I got older. Like I probably watched it 15 times in my life, or maybe not that many, but a lot. And Airplane, I always thought was like one of the classics of all time. Yeah. So I'm with you, man. I mean, those are all great picks. I would bring some more current stuff into the mix.
Yep. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So there are two others that I'm going to throw in. These are the only other two comedies I put in there. And then you're going to see, boy, you really just don't like anything recent. So I'm just going to just throw in the other two ones that I have. One was, I guess if I have to think about it, that's not a good sign. But I guess, you know what, this is not necessarily considered a comedy, but we'll get to the one that might not be a comedy in a minute. But definitely Something About Mary. That was awesome. And the other, what is the other semi-modern one? And there's one that I'm not throwing in that I know I'm going to get destroyed for, but I just didn't think it was that funny. But we're going to get to that probably when you bring up. Oh, and the other one I really liked, Wayne's World, the first Wayne's World.
Oh, interesting. I was not where I thought you were going to go.
Yeah.
I was
and if you think about it, I'll throw it out there. This is a great one. If you regard, for whatever reason, Ferris Bueller as a comedy, I'm going to put that in there as well.
Sure. I love Ferris Bueller. That's a great movie.
All right. So tell me about why Will Ferrell's so good and why I should like him, and tell me about all that other stuff.
All right. Well, first I'm going to tell you missed one of the classic old ones that I grew up on, which is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's a personal thing. I know it's dated, but it's definitely one of my old favorites. My number one, and it's not even so much as a comedy. I just love. Actually, I cry laughing when I watch this movie. And one of the movies I've seen the most in my life, Big Lebowski. I absolutely love the Big Lebowski. Big
Lebowski is awesome. You know, it's funny. I didn't even consider that when I was thinking about it as a comedy. You know what I mean?
It's kind of a weird one to think of like that, but it is, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so.
One that I watched 2 nights ago, which is sort of leads in. It's not my favorite of this genre, but it's the first one. This is Spinal Tap. Would be on there for me.
Oh, okay. So let me tell you about This Is Spinal Tap, right? So not only did I see This Is Spinal Tap in the theaters, okay, but we had a thing in college where we would play tap tennis, okay, where spinal tap tennis, where one person would say one line, and then the other person would have to say the line that came after it. Otherwise, it'd be 15-love, and you play right up until like you won the match, okay? So that is just a huge, huge mess up by me not even remembering that that's even a comedy or whatever, because that is clearly top 5.
Yeah, that's an awesome one. I love Best in Show also, and Waiting for Guffman, all the same type of movies.
Didn't get to those. I didn't see them. Yep.
Yeah, Trading Places.
Ooh, damn, that's right.
The big one.
Oh, I suck. Yeah, absolutely.
Raising Arizona. Super bad for me. I mean,
yeah, that's just where my generation gap just closed. Like,
yeah, and then I just all the Will Ferrell movies. Anchorman is like at the time. I mean, I still think it is. They say that Caddyshack and Anchorman are the 2 most quoted movies of all time, and I completely believe that. I think Anchorman will overtake it if it hasn't overtaken it yet. But Anchorman, there's just too many good one-liners. Absolutely bizarre. That whole kind of weird, like even the Something About Mary. That they started the whole gross out humor kind of thing, the Farrelly brothers. Yeah. And then switching over to the Will Ferrell comedies, but I love all of the Will Ferrell movies. I think that Old School is great. The other one, there's 2 that I really like I realize now that I actually like older ones better. Obviously love The Hangover, one of the hardest I laughed in the theaters. I love Wedding Crashers, one of the hardest I ever laughed in the theaters. But I love A Fish Called Wanda, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Ooh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, and then the best Eddie Murphy movie, I think, Coming to America. I love it.
Is Coming to America better than Trading Places?
It's probably not, but I just like.
I don't know. It could be.
It's really close for me. I love both of them. I love Trading Places. I don't know. Coming to America felt a little bit, I guess it was a little bit more recent, huh? It's like about 5 years later, which the film looks a little, it sort of dates a little bit better, I guess I would say.
Boy, oh boy, this is going to be a big problem because, I mean, I'm trying to like erase these things from my list as we go through them. You know what I mean? So that I know which ones we haven't talked about in general, the ones whatever. And we got a long way to go. That's
There's
fine.
a lot. There's other ones like, I mean, there's a lot of great ones that I haven't included, like Beverly Hills Cop, I think is amazing and it holds up completely. I just watched it this time.
Oh, absolutely.
It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Anything with Eddie Murphy, actually anything with Eddie Murphy, I'm always willing to take a look at. And I think he's like the funniest person, one of the funniest people of all time. So maybe the funniest person. I don't know.
So all right. So let's boy, oh boy. So we're doing this in terms of a lot of different genres. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday with respect to like crime and mafia type movies, right? So we discussed yesterday. I thought about more about what you said about Casino versus Goodfellas.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely have a case, man. I mean, like it's Harden versus Westbrook in a way. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to kill you for that take.
Yeah, it's I think that it's really I mean, look, they're both great. I lean that way. That's personal.
Okay. So what other like, let's just put it in that terms, crime, mafia, stuff like that. So I'll throw a couple out there.
Okay.
Heat.
Yes. One of the best ever.
So I have a really off the board, just, it's not going to be anybody's top 20 movie, but just something that, you know, let's just say that you're in quarantine and you have nothing to do for the next like 4 months, right? Like everybody is. And you have movies that you may have never seen. There's a namesake to the movie Heat called Heat, which predated Heat by like 10 years. And it was a movie with Burt Reynolds and some other guys that you may or never heard of. And he's like kind of like a hitman sort of crime guy that lives in Vegas. And there are guys you might recognize in it. It's just a really just kind of a good movie. So you want to just put that on your list of just ridiculous things you would never see otherwise. So Heat was great. Departed, we talked about the other day, I think.
Yeah, love Departed.
Love Departed. I'm not going to consider Usual Suspects a crime movie yet. We'll get to that probably differently. But what other crime stuff? I'm just kind of like looking at my list.
Can I throw you out some here?
Yep.
All right. Well, one of my favorites ever, and it's not even that old. No Country for Old Men.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome movie.
Now you do know you've so far thrown in 3 Coen Brothers movies.
I'm obsessed with Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
It's not an accident.
Yeah.
Carlito's Way, underrated.
Ooh, interesting.
I would say if you want to call it, it's more of a like. I think Snatch is one of the best movies.
I don't even know what that is.
So I don't even know. It's more of like a comedy crime kind of a movie. You should watch it. It's with Brad Pitt's in it. It's a British movie about them trying to get the guys who made Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Have you seen that?
I have not.
And that's about poker too. Come on. It's about they all get their money together and try and beat the basically before they made Rounders. I guess probably around the same time. But sort of they had to beat the Teddy KGB character who was much more vicious in this movie. But it's those guys, they made some great movies. Like Guy Ritchie. I couldn't think of his name for a second. But those ones.
How about Seven?
Seven's great. So is Fargo.
Oh, there's another one. That's right.
Yeah.
See, Fargo, I didn't even know what to put that in because Fargo is just like it's like just an all-time great movie. You know what I mean? I didn't even categorize that anywhere. I just threw it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, one of the one that's really good, but I don't know if it's as great. I don't like it as much as everybody else. I like Gangs of New York a lot, but I thought it was very strange to, like, what they did with the main characters was so weird by giving.
Never saw it.
Oh my God, that's crazy! You should see it.
Yeah.
Well, it's bizarre because basically Leonardo DiCaprio and Daniel Day-Lewis are the main characters, and Leo's doing basically a Daniel Day-Lewis real life impersonation. By the way, he sounds just like him. And Daniel Day-Lewis is doing a Leo impersonation, trying to be an American guy. Like, it just didn't, the whole thing was just kind of weird, but it's a good movie. It's just not my favorite.
Okay, let's do another couple more crime ones. Now, this is, you probably just have seen it because it's been around, but one of my favorites is an older one, Dog Day Afternoon.
I've seen it, but I was young. I think I was probably too young to get it at the time. Probably I put it on my rewatch. I got to take another look at it.
Yep. What other crime ones do I have on my list here? I have That's not Usual Suspects. I'm not considering that well. I mean, you like Usual Suspects, right?
Love it.
Yeah, I liked it. So my wife for my something birthday actually got me the script.
Really?
Yeah, signed by whoever. Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
The Sting.
That's good.
What else? Now this is
We
not
talked
considered
about Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction last time.
Yeah, we went over that last time. Okay, so let's bang out while we're here. Your horror
This
movies
is in
because
your world.
What's that?
Your world. We got one movie that's in your world that we haven't really talked about.
Which one?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that yet. I don't really like that movie at all.
Okay.
I think I like Wall Street though.
I love Wall Street. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wall Street. And
I like Wall Street.
Dated, but it doesn't. It's not like badly aged because the acting is so good, especially by.
Oh no! Like if you look at my list right now, after we've talked about all those other ones that are categories, I only have like 30 left. I think. Like, so you're like a big horror guy. So let me just again, just as just a guy who just likes movies for movies. But the ones that made my list, I mentioned Poltergeist, right? Whatever, and. But my favorites are kind of like the chalk. Like I love The Exorcist, The Omen. I guess those are my two. Now this one I don't consider obviously a horror movie. I'm trying to figure out where to put Memento into my just list of movies in general. But what are like real good like classic horror movies do you consider great movies?
So I consider, I mean, I think The Shining does still fall into this category. So
okay, fair enough.
For me. And I don't really know there's a whole lot that maybe would be that close because they're all different. But
right.
So, I mean, look, okay, I biased a little bit. Original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Exorcist, like you said. I like the original Halloween very much. I don't consider Jaws a horror movie, but I know a lot of people do, and they would consider that on their list. The original Alien was really good. Again, I don't consider that a horror movie either. I really liked Scream in the theater. I know it sounds like a kind of a corny one, but I sort of liked that one, and it was sort of a little bit different for its time. I also like 28 Days Later quite a bit. And I like a lot of weird newer ones that maybe aren't quite. Oh, you know what? I forgot the second best one ever to me, Rosemary's Baby. I love that movie, absolutely. And I'm just looking through what other movies that I had here. Yeah, that's pretty much my main one.
So within the crime thing, we'll go over like a couple kind of like off, not really crime ones, but so Silence of the Lambs, I liked, but I don't know what it is about this movie. I saw this other movie kind of in the theater, which was actually the prequel to that, which was out before, which was called Manhunter.
Yeah, great movie.
And there was actually two Manhunters. So there was there was an original Manhunter. And then like 10, 20 years later, they did a remake called The Red Dragon with Ed Norton. But I actually saw Manhunter with William Peterson in the theaters as well. And that was actually, that was exceptional. I mean, the incredible music track directed by Michael Mann, who was the Miami Vice guy. I thought it's just a tremendous movie. And I would go so far to say that what's his name? Whatever his name is, Brian Cox, who was the Dr. Lecter in that, was significantly better than Anthony Hopkins in the I mean it was just a little different. It wasn't as over the top-ish as the Anthony Hopkins one. It was much more subtle and yet just as evil in that. While I'm talking about kind of movies in that vein was Blue Velvet, which I don't know if you're a Blue Velvet guy. Do you know Blue Velvet?
The recent one? No, the old one.
I don't even know if there's
it's not a recent one. I'm thinking of a different movie. Yeah.
So Blue Velvet was directed by David Lynch, who became more famous for he did Eraserhead, but Blue Velvet's a classic movie. But he did he was Twin Peaks. That was his main TV show actually. When Twin Peaks was around.
Yeah.
But Blue Velvet was amazing. Saw that in the theaters, and he actually that was the world premiere, which he actually introduced, and I really liked that. Other movies that are kind of like that were Fight Club. I don't know if we talked about Fight Club last time.
I love that we did.
It's why it's so hard to like rank these things, Yeah. And what other I'm kind of looking through these and crossing them as I go. What other crime-ish based things? I think I'm done with I don't consider, this is like actually really funny. Have you seen Memento?
I love Memento.
So I completely subconsciously, it's the only one that I put on the list twice, which is kind of funny when you think about it, right?
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
So now here's a movie that's really, really underrated. So one that Memento reminded me of, and another one that Manhunter reminded me of. So the one that Memento reminded me of is another movie that Guy Pearce was in, L.A. Confidential.
Great movie, yeah.
Which I thought was incredible. And maybe as an LA guy, you find it even more incredible. But that was it was just awesome. And the other William Peterson movie, again, similar theme, which I think again was really underrated, but tremendous movie, was To Live and Die in LA.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's another good one.
Which I really like as well.
Making some crazy noise.
Okay.
I sort of got stuck on the horror movie thing, and I had a few more that I needed to say.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So I would say Us, which is a recent one, although I like Get Out better. They're both excellent horror movies. One you may not have seen is called It Follows. It's a very strange movie, but it's one you should check out, or people should check out if they like horror movies. And then I had, I just lost my little sheet of my the notes that I was making. But the other one I just watched recently was, what was it? It was called, gosh, I'll think of it. Oh, Hereditary.
Okay.
That's a trippy one. I think I might have.
What about that? All the M. Night Shyamalan movies that.
Yeah, like that's a good movie. I don't know if I would even. I guess it is horror, but
Yeah.
they're strange. They're sort of subtle horror. He did one I just watched actually that was more horrorish called The Visit, which is kind of interesting.
Okay.
And then his other, but the old ones, the one with the I See Dead People and all that, Sixth Sense. That's a great movie. The rest of them they're very flawed. Like Signs is a very flawed movie, but it's entertaining to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mostly not my stuff.
So we talked. So let's go back. Let's you brought up some gambling movies, right? So
okay.
Are you I only have, this is not a gambling movie, but I'll throw this in when I get to it. But the only gambling movie that really made it for me here, and I don't even consider it a gambling movie, is House of Games. You stare at me like you. So House of Games. I don't know if you've never seen House of Games.
No idea what that is.
Yeah, so you'll Google it. So House of Games is directed by David Mamet, who also did like a zillion movies you would have heard of. He actually wrote about Last Night, but he directed Spanish Prisoner. Wrote the Spanish Prisoner. House of Games is a great con game movie about con men and a long con, short con. House of Games is amazing. I don't consider Sting a gambling movie, and I just can't do it with Rounders. You know what I mean? I love Rounders.
Do you really not like Rounders?
I do like Rounders.
Okay.
I just can't, consider it one of my favorite movies. That's all.
Okay.
I mean, I definitely consider it the best poker movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the best. It's still, some of the lines are pretty hilarious when you listen back to them.
And there's an issue, by the way, and I have Brian Koppelman on Twitter, right? And I got to find out, because one of the first, when they do the introduction of where the kids came from, whenever Mike is narrating, he's like, Worm and I met at Dwight Englewood Preparatory School in Englewood, New Jersey. That's where I went to high school.
What?
I went to Dwight Englewood High School in Englewood, okay? It wasn't called Dwight Englewood Prep. It was called Dwight Englewood High School in Englewood. And there's just no way that that's an accident. Like, I looked up Brian Cobb, where he's from. He's not from Englewood. His partner's not from Englewood. He's from freaking Long Island. And I got to tweet it in one of these days. Like, where the hell did you just invent Dwight Englewood School? And then he was even saying that Worm's dad worked as the custodian. Right, so it's totally accidentally. Every year at my high school, there's a yearbook, and you make a dedication for the yearbook. Like what's your favorite teacher? And for whatever reason, we dedicated the yearbook to like the head custodian that year. The year I graduated, Dwight Englewood, we dedicated it to the head custodian. Okay, so that was my one Rounders thing. So House of Games is the one. So there's nothing else that really made it for me as far as a really great movie that happened to be a gambling movie. You got anything in there?
Yeah, I thought that there were actually a couple. I want to ask you about the last one I'm going to mention, although I don't consider it necessarily great. First of all, I do think Ocean's 11 is a really good movie, and
it sure is
a gambling movie, but
it sure is.
Yeah, and I think Casino, if you count that, which it's not
Fair
exactly
enough.
gambling, but it's I would put there. You know, I like The Hustler. I like Color of Money even, and
Yeah,
I like The Hustler, so I'm good with those ones. I don't think you count Bugsy, but I think you would count Eight Men Out as a gambling movie.
I think so. I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I think I would put Rounders up there. I actually really liked the movie a lot. I think it had the most. I mean, in terms of movies that had a massive impact on things after them, and sure it was going that way anyway. But it's I just think it's a pretty solid
See,
movie.
my issues with gambling movies, the same with everybody else's issues with gambling movies. They just always fuck it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They just never get the technical aspects of it right. You could pay a gambler like $1,000 to be
Eric
a
Seidel.
consultant on it and fix it.
Wasn't Eric Seidel on Rounders one of the names that one of the people they used for advice?
Well, that was one of the better ones. You know
And
what I mean?
really, yeah. And by the way, you know, and getting over to that, I mean, you got movies like 21, which I like the book, but
Oh yeah,
House, but I didn't like the movie very much
right.
comparatively. But it was entertaining. The one I wanted to ask you about, because we both must have come across this before, is Molly's Game.
Never seen it.
Do you know that you don't know Molly's Game?
No, I mean, no, I know it. I've just never seen it.
I can't believe you haven't seen that.
Yep.
It's an interesting movie, man. It's actually interesting. It's a little, from what I've heard, exaggerated. Now we played a lot. I was playing a lot down in Commerce, and I was playing a lot of the games that you play. And you know, I'm playing 10-20 no limit or 25-50 no limit sometimes, or tournaments. You end up playing with, you know, Tobey Maguire and all these guys and all the guys who they're sort of talking about in the movie. And there was a lot of people who talked about these games, including the mobsters that they talk about in the movie. There's a lot of things that were different in the movie. I don't want to tell everything about it, but I suggest you see that movie because it's interesting. It's well made. Had I known nothing about the story whatsoever, I would have thought it was enjoyable. But it's based on real, like, you know, this real Hollywood celebrity game that was like the big game running for a while, and all the dirtiness and all that is really apparent. And it was a time where I was playing a lot that they're capturing, so I would be playing these tournaments Tobey Maguire would be at every single tournament I'd played. So would all these other celebrities. And he was like the big star on the planet. This little underground game they had while all this was going on it's just weird. It's an interesting movie. Anyway, check it out. Let me know what you think about it if you do check it out sometime, because it's worth watching for sure.
Yeah. So I'll just ask you this one random, I guess, if we go into action. One random question. Do you like Terminator better than Terminator 2, or both, or neither?
I like Terminator 1. I like both of them. I like Terminator 1 better. The kid kind of irritates me in the second one. I don't feel like he acts the right way. I don't know.
I will say this, okay, and this is really hard to do nowadays, okay, but imagine this. I went to see Terminator 2, and when I went to see Terminator 2, I did not know going in that Schwarzenegger was the good guy. I actually was watching it, and when that scene came, when you figured out that he was I'm like, holy shit! Like that really,
cool.
like, was so cool that I was able to go into it not knowing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that I thought was really clever. But I agree with you. I think the kid bothered me.
Yeah, but wait, sorry, real quick. I forgot one of my favorite casino movies. And I just have to mention it.
Go for it.
The Cooler.
Never saw it.
Awesome movie, absolutely awesome movie. Like really dark, but really, really, really like old school Vegas casino owner, Alec Baldwin, like William H. Macy. I think he might have won Best Actor for this movie, actually, or at least he was up for it. Sort of a beat down old guy, but they bring him up to the like they believe in all the old school Vegas stuff. They have this guy as the actual cooler, and then when his life turns around, it starts turning around the things, and all of a sudden the casino's losing money. It's kind of unrealistic, but it's really well made and very, very, very serious, and like it's a good movie. It's really a good watch.
Let me throw a couple of, I guess, quote unquote action movies out there with you for you. Okay. And some of these are crossovers, whatever. But I don't think people were asking, like, what's the movie you've seen the most? Whatever it is. It's probably this one's. I'm sure there are others that I'm forgetting, but there are very few movies I've seen more than Die Hard. I think it's just an awesome movie. I think the script is great. I think all the performances are amazing. And it just keeps you engaged, like, from beginning to end. And I think Die Hard's awesome.
Yeah, I love Die Hard as well. I have my strongest take would be in this action category, because I feel like I have a movie that I like so much better than every other movie that it's hard for me to it's hard for me to even like think of it, all the other ones as even being close. And it's, I mean, I know it sounds weird. I'm not a big comic movie guy. I think the whole Dark Knight and the new series, or the whatever the series with Christian Bale, is the best of any of those kind of movies. But I think especially just period, the Dark Knight flat out. I read a thing Oliver Stone wrote about it, and it said, this movie is as good as you can make a movie for your category. This movie surpassed all those things, and he had it as his #1 movie of all time. This is Oliver Stone. It doesn't seem like an Oliver Stone type of movie. It's such a well-made movie, and the kind of movie that would be really hard to cross both the action side and like the serious to stressful side of it, and like just the disturbed, twisted part. It's all of it is just combined really well. I love that movie.
Okay, so I'm going to address that in just a second. Okay.
You don't like this movie? Okay, we got a first disagreement here.
No. I'm going to address it I'm not going to say this. I put Total Recall on my list. The original Total Recall with Schwarzenegger. I don't have any other Schwarzenegger movies on there. I don't think he's a particularly good actor, so I don't really consider it a great movie. But put Total Recall on there. So here's the thing. So do you ever get married or no?
No,
you had a girlfriend.
I essentially was married once, but we didn't actually follow through.
So when I've been married now 24 years. Okay. So when you get married and then you decide what movies you're going to go to, it's not like the same. It's not like, well, I like this, and so you have to suffer through it. And likewise, I know that you would like this, and well, I'm more inclined to suffer through something than she is. Let's put it that way. I'll see a dumb whatever comedy that I know that she's like that to do her a solid, because that's rule one, keep the ladies happy, right? Which is fine. But I never drag her in anything I would want to see. And so over the last 15 years or so, especially, there's just been movies that I just missed, that I just never saw, and Dark Knight is one of them.
Oh no, man.
It's fine. I can see it whenever I want now, right? So now that I'm getting the push by you, it's more of a reason for me to actually just hunker down and see it. I'm not saying I didn't have any desire to see it. I didn't say whatever. It just came and went without me even knowing it existed.
Did that happen with The Matrix for you too?
No.
Okay. I love The Matrix too.
Well, yes. I mean, it did, but my good friend Brian, who just knows me really well, says, listen, I know this is going to be one that you're just going to miss. You just really are not allowed to miss this one. So that one, to The Matrix, definitely did not miss The Matrix. That is clearly the nuts. Okay.
That is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's actually, because of the third one was sort of like weird with the machines, even though I know
never saw the second or the third one.
Oh wow. The second one's great too, by the way. And the third is even pretty good, but it's just not quite the same. Yeah, I love that. I love The Matrix. I love Inception. The Terminators are good. Kill Bill's a great movie for action.
I didn't see Kill Bill.
Oh my God, I'm envious of you. I would love to just be able to just watch these movies today and do nothing else.
Didn't see Kill Bill. So as far as the straight action stuff, I don't have anything left unless you consider. Now we gotta do sci-fi separately. So I guess True Romance we talked about the other day.
Yeah.
I don't know where you factor that in, but I thought that was a great movie. That just goes somewhere else. So Apocalypse Now is my only war movie. Mm-hmm. And it's one of my favorites of all time also. Are you into that kind of stuff? Are you into Deer Hunter and things like that? Or
Deer Hunter is one of my favorite movies ever. It's really depressing, but it's definitely one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
But I like Apocalypse Now. I would rather watch Apocalypse Now as a rewatch than I would Deer Hunter, because it's just, Deer Hunter is 4 hours long for one thing, but it's also, I don't want to have, it evokes a lot of emotion that you maybe don't want to feel. It's a brutal movie. It is absolutely brutal. Maybe my stronger takes on these is one I don't like. I didn't particularly like, as good as the acting was and all this stuff, I was not into, this is, again, I understand it's a good movie, it's just not for me. Saving Private Ryan was not my movie.
Don't look at me. I never saw it.
Okay, good. I did like Schindler's List a ton.
Never saw that either.
Okay. You're not you don't have to go see these movies.
Never saw that.
These are not fun. None of these movies, none of the war movies.
Platoon did nothing for me.
Oh, what about Full Metal Jacket?
Oh, that's the best of all time. I can't believe I forgot about that one. Yeah, Full Metal Jacket's insane. That's
like two incredible movies in one.
Yeah, exactly. That's beyond amazing, actually.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That just missed my list, but 100%. It didn't miss me. I just forgot it. I mean, that's definitely up there. I don't know exactly where, but it's definitely up there. So, okay, so sci-fi, and this is another thing. It's just not my thing in general. Like you mentioned, Alien. Like Alien was like fine for me, you know, not a big deal. So I'll give you one movie I just threw in there. It's not really a sci-fi movie, but just I remember to bring it up, was Back to the Future, right? Call it a comedy, call it whatever it was. So I have two movies that for me just kind of stand above, and one's going to be kind of like either a hot take or a cold take. I really liked Close Encounters of the Third Kind, like a lot. I saw that in the theaters and on video like a zillion times. I thought that was incredible. And here's kind of like my, I guess, hot take, I guess, on the Star Wars thing. Like it's not even a hot take. I really think that A New Hope was just clearly the best. I'm not interested in The Empire Strikes Back being the best movie. I'm always been A New Hope as just being just the best one. And not to say Empire Strikes Back is bad or whatever, but for me, The New Hope is just like clearly the best. And I didn't see any of the other ones until the most recent, I suppose, that whatever not the newest one, the newest big one, whatever it was. So for me, Empire Strikes Back is obviously great, but I think New Hope is amazing.
So I hate all the Star Wars movies. That's just
that's fine too.
Yeah,
because there are people who are great movie guys that just don't like Star Wars, and it's totally cool. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna get Star Wars shamed by me. You know what I mean? Like
no, that's fine. I know, and it's just like it's one of those things I always kind of wished I got into because I actually do like sci-fi stuff quite a bit, but I didn't get a chance with that one. I was thinking of like some very basic ones I wanted to mention because I didn't want to forget. Gattaca, The Martian, and Ex Machina are probably like right up there for me, but maybe not my absolute favorites, but they're right there. I like 12 Monkeys quite a bit.
You like Stargate?
I like Stargate a lot, actually. Stargate's a really good call. I like Back to the Future, which you mentioned. I like, the weird one that's ridiculous, and it's almost like watching a intentionally, accidentally funny comedy, if that's possible. But Starship Troopers, I think, is really, really entertaining to watch. Trying to think of a few other ones real quick while I'm here.
So here's a 1v1, right? And this is, I feel really bad about this because
Jurassic Park. Sorry.
Because there's a 1v1 that I felt really bad about because back when I was I want to say 14, like both or 13 or 14, both these movies came out pretty much the exact same time or close to it, and for whatever reason within my friend group, whatever, you had to like one, and the other one, if you like the other one, you just like weren't cool pretty much. So I never gave the other one a chance. So for me, like it was always Raiders much better than E.T. Like if you liked E.T., you were like a loser, right? Like Raiders was like the nut movie to watch. And I don't even think I've seen E.T. since I saw it in theaters like 1,000 years ago. So maybe I should give E.T. another shot. But I was always just like just I guess peer pressure into it at first, but then just really just became like a Raiders guy.
Yeah, I would definitely lean your way with Raiders there. But I did like E.T. One we forgot about. There's two actually. First of all, I liked the new Planet of the Apes movies, especially the last one.
See, I missed it. In other words, I missed the whole idea of Planet of the Apes. I've never seen any of them. Like I tried to watch like the show a couple of times, and then like when I was growing up, people had like Planet of the Apes lunch boxes and action figures and all this stuff. I just missed it, I think.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, just the old Planet of the Apes. I thought the story was great. I mean, it looks very dated if you watch it now, but it's still a really good movie. I actually like the new ones quite a bit. And I really like The Fly. And I really
in the theaters and a million times after it. I love The Fly.
Yeah, and the other one we didn't mention because I'm a big Kubrick guy, I'd have to say it is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, you like that better than Clockwork Orange?
No, because actually I forgot that. I actually don't know. We wouldn't call Clockwork Orange in this category though.
No, that's what I'm saying. I got a bunch of these that I don't know where to kind of clarify them quite yet.
Yeah, I love Clockwork Orange more than, my daughter read the book when she was like 12, against my best wishes, because she was adamant and obsessed with reading, and she loved Stephen King. I don't know how she found the first Stephen King thing that she found, but she's basically read every Stephen King book by now, and she's 13. Oh, she just turned 14. So the best parenting on my part.
So it's funny. So I still have 1, 2, 3, 4. I still like 13 or 14 movies that are just, I don't see uncategorized or whatever, just tremendous movies. And I'm looking through, and as far as like what's come out recently, I'll just throw a couple out there. What did you think of Argo?
I liked Argo very much.
Yeah. I was a big Argo guy. I liked Argo. I didn't see it in theaters or anything, but I
Yeah.
saw it a couple of times when it came out. I liked Argo. As far as other recent guys, I'm going to get to my whatever is, do you ever see Slumdog Millionaire?
Yeah, I like Slumdog Millionaire. I was less into it. The hype was so big to me. And then the way that, I mean, I've never been into the whole Bollywood dancing at the end of movies, which is fine, whatever. It still could have been a good movie. I thought it was a good movie. I just didn't think it was this epic movie that everyone else did.
Okay, what do you? I mentioned you kind of like blinked when I mentioned it before, like you haven't seen it. So I'll throw it out there again to you. I mentioned the other day. It's a movie called Fresh, which is yeah, it's a really good drug like kids and drug dealing type movie, which is just insane, and it's really really good. I'll watch Dark Knight. You can watch Fresh. It's really
All right.
really really good. Other movies now again. Do you like Titanic?
Okay, so I like Titanic the movie. I just don't think it's. I mean, it's just there's so many corny things, but it's as in terms of as a movie being made, it's pretty amazing. You know that they made it. Even by the way, it'd be a lot easier to make now, and still people aren't making things as technically as good as they do. But James Cameron always is like that. I liked it. I just didn't like. I'm not like gaga over it or whatever.
Okay, so I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 movies here that are just what I don't consider these necessarily the best. There's guys we haven't like talked about.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw them out there, and one of them I don't know if I want to keep on my list. So I'll bring this first. What did you like? Stand By Me?
I did a lot.
Yeah, I did too. And every time it's funny. I remember really liking it when I saw it, right? And then when I see it again, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? So I give it a lot of history because I really remember loving it when I saw it. So that's one. Another one which I presume everybody likes, American Beauty.
American Beauty is absolutely awesome and one of my favorite movies I've ever seen in the theater.
Yeah. So another one which is obviously huge chalk, so get out of the way, Shawshank Redemption.
Love Shawshank. Yeah. That whole 94 year was like the best year of just some of the best movies ever made.
Yeah. What'd you think of two kind of half political movies? You ever get into All the President's Men?
I liked All the President's Men a lot. Yeah.
You ever see Absence of Malice?
No.
Okay. Absence of Malice is with Paul Newman and Sally Field. It's kind of like a newspaper rights movie about like what you can print, what you can't, stuff like that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 places. Okay, let's get rid of this. 2 other chalks, and then I'll get into some other like my favorites that maybe are not thought of. Rain Man.
Rain Man's great.
Yeah. Good Will Hunting.
Great.
Okay. Graduate.
Great.
Okay. I threw this in there just because I had to throw it in. Wizard of Oz. Okay, so these next 4 are like 4 of like my 4 favorite movies that are just I don't think going to appear on anybody's top 10. Okay. Let's put it that way. And I didn't like save them; they just kind of like defaulted down here. So one movie is with I'll just throw it is To Die For. It's directed by Gus Van Sant. It's got Nicole Kidman and one of the Phoenixes. I think it's the same Phoenix actually.
Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and the music and just the flow of it, I just can watch that like hundreds and hundreds of times.
That's an amazing one, but let me just jump real quick and ask you a quick second.
Yeah.
Do you like the movie Gone Girl by any chance?
Never heard of it.
Okay, I'm trying to like psychologically profile you here because To Die For would be like a similar type of story.
Okay.
Great movie. It's a good movie to check out for sure.
Okay. So, and my next 3, one, and this is kind of like I was only forced to see it because of what I was doing at the time. But you talk about Rounders, you talk about what other stuff. One of my favorite movies is Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Great movie.
Okay. So that is just incredible in a lot of different ways. And then the other 2 I have, and one I did not see when it came out. I didn't even see it until like a few years ago, but I'll get to that in a second. One of my top movies of all time is Almost Famous. It's just my thing. It's all my music in there, you know, that I used to grow up listening to. And I was never really that much of a Cameron Crowe guy, but this particular movie, I really just got a tear like a lot of different times, like during this movie. So that's one. And the next one is, again, I had never even heard of this when it came out, but I just can't stop watching it when it comes on. It's a movie called The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's insane. it's really, really good. And it's not really for my generation. Let's put it that way. But it's really a lot about young people, whatever it is. But it's just perfect. I mean, I just love it. It's got great music. It's got great everything. What other stuff do you got?
So that's an interesting one. You know, I think the book was it the book that was banned with Perks of Being a Wallflower?
Oh, really? I have no idea.
Something about it. I still have no idea what it's about, but I remember hearing something like that. I don't know exactly if there's a whole bunch of other movies that I've got. I agree with a lot of your, like, we have a very similar list on most of the things. I personally am the one I'm behind on everyone. I'm lower on than everyone else, and I'm always going to be. But I liked it when I first saw it. I just don't think it's a great movie, and I have some flaws with the way that Almost Famous is made. But again, that's just my own personal thing. Another movie that I like to name movies that everybody else likes that I don't particularly like.
Yep.
Citizen Kane is a really well-made movie. And the fact that in every list you're going to call that's the greatest movie of all time is annoying to me.
Never seen it.
It's so ridiculous to me. Like, I mean, I watched it in film school. I mean, we had to watch all these things in film school.
Where'd you go to film school?
I just did. I mean, I didn't go to regular school, so I just started doing film studies and for the 2 years before I was going to transfer to UCLA, and ended up deciding to take a job instead. But like Gone with the Wind would be a great older movie. You mentioned
Never saw it. Never saw
Gone with the Wind. Oh my! No. I mean, it's pretty.
Never saw Casablanca.
Casablanca is like a good movie, but again, I don't like it as much as the other ones. The one we didn't mention, Lawrence of Arabia.
Never saw it.
Oh my goodness. These are old ones. I mean, my family, like, that's what happens. We have a huge family. You grow up watching a lot of the old classic movies, who they're all convinced are better than all the new movies.
You like No Way Out?
Well, we've got one to it. I love No Way Out. I think it's a really, really good underrated movie.
Yeah.
Also, Annie Hall is a great movie to me. But One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I don't know how I missed this one. That's a top fiver for me. Like, that might literally be like number 4 or 5. And probably the movie that I've shed the most tears in. There's something about that movie that just breaks me, and it's the best of Jack Nicholson, in my opinion, and it's just a terrific movie.
Which, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great movie.
The book is spectacular, too, so it's kind of hard, you know. I had a hard time, maybe because I watched it when I was young, but I had a hard time with Midnight Cowboy, which is another one of people's favorites.
Whoa. Well, forget Midnight Cowboy. What about Midnight Run?
Midnight Run's great.
Yeah, Midnight Run's awesome. I forgot that one.
Yeah. Not a big fan of Midnight Cowboy, though, like everyone else. It's just, for me, that movie depressed me. I do like other movies that we missed, you know, Lord of the Rings.
Never saw a single Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings is really well made. Another one I'm going to mention just because he's the father of my buddy, Ben-Hur.
Never saw it.
The creator was it? But I mean, you know, just another one that's just worth throwing out there. I like West Side Story. I like Taxi Driver quite a bit. We already talked about Deer Hunter, Jaws. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that we have.
How about Deliverance?
A little bit hard for me. Again, I think I shouldn't have been watching that movie at 11 years old.
I don't think.
So, probably.
Excuse me. Okay, so Jaws came out. I was 10. Okay. One of my brothers was 7. The other brother was 4. My brother, who was 4, has not been in the ocean.
What?
Has not been in the ocean.
How is that even possible? Like, even by accident? Like,
since then, he will not go in.
That is absolutely wildness to me.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
The last that is crazy, man. The last movie that I wanted to mention that I think that is a really great movie, just because, actually it's 2, but it would be Do the Right Thing and then Malcolm X. Malcolm X is one of the greatest movies I've ever made. Do the Right Thing is probably more like groundbreaking. Like, it was really incredible the way they did that movie when they did it. But Malcolm X is just somehow gets left off of all these things, and I honestly just think like it's just BS, and you know they don't even replay it on movie channels and stuff because of the committee, the whatever. Like, I just feel like that movie sort of got boxed out because of the Malcolm X character that they were portraying.
You ever see Homicide?
I did not see Homicide.
Yeah, that was very good with Joe Mantegna. That's it. He was also in House of Games, by the way.
Yeah,
And also written, directed by David Mamet, same guy, actually.
yeah. Montaigne is an interesting one because he's actually like had like a good career, but I feel like he should have been even bigger. You know?
Yeah.
They always say I listen to Bill Simmons podcast all the time, and he always says every time Montana's name comes up in one of the rewatchable movies they talk about, it's always the same thing. He always says, the line from Bobby Fischer. He said, "He's better at this than you will ever be at anything."
At anything.
That's a great scene, though.
I don't know. I think I gotta go watch either Dark Knight or I'll watch Dark Knight. Then I think I'm gonna watch To Live and Die in LA again. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna do something.
I'm gonna check out Fresh.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, guys. Hey, hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you soon. Stay safe out there.